On Wednesday, the chair of Japanese power company TEPCO, which has been at the center of international scrutiny since the earthquake and subsequent tsunamis on March 11th, admitted 4 out of the 6 reactors at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant have been damaged beyond repair. That means the reactors will be decommissioned, but experts fear it could be decades before emergency workers get them sufficiently under control. And as bad news continues to mount, analysts say Japan must make a decision between bad or worse. First, there's the water issue.
Water is the key to preventing a full-scale meltdown, either sprayed into the reactors from fire hoses or injected by pumps. But the water that goes in clean is coming out radioactive, the result of a probable leak in or near a reactor core. For now, the stagnant radioactive water, enough to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools, is simply the lesser of 2 evils. The other option is a meltdown.
So they have some holding tanks, but those holding tanks are filling up rapidly, and the water keeps coming. So all the tons of water you saw sprayed over the last week is now radioactive and is filling up in the basements of at least 3 reactors, hampering rescue efforts, making it more difficult, slowing down all the work, and now threatening to send tons and tons of water spilling into the ocean.
And adding to that, the discovery of plutonium in soil near the reactors.
Now, the Nuclear Safety Agency is saying that the findings of plutonium seems to indicate that there is indeed damage to fuel rods. They aren't saying so far that that means there's a crack in the container vessels, but it's certainly a much more worrying development now than the other findings in the past.
But U.S. nuclear expert Richard Leahy tells The Guardian it's actually very likely a containment vessel has been compromised, exposing radioactive fuel to the elements. As the crisis mounts, media are keeping a close watch on parallels between Ukraine's Chernobyl disaster and the current situation in Japan. Still, a correspondent for Australia's ABC highlights another message from Leahy. The situations are very different.
We have to also stress that Richard Leahy is saying there is no danger of a Chernobyl-style catastrophe here, because he said that was a case where it exploded with a big fire and steam explosion, which was not good.
It was also
obviously
a graphite reactor, and that made a huge difference. That meant there was much more radioactive smoke.
But a nuclear energy expert in Germany tells RT Japan certainly runs the risk of such a tragedy.
What we know from information provided by IAEA already last week, already a significant amount of radioactive substance were released. It might lead to a situation where we can compare the 2, Chernobyl and Fukushima, if it comes to the amount of release of radioactive substances.
The Sydney Morning Herald reports on Tuesday the amount of radioactive iodine in seawater surrounding the Fukushima Daiichi plant was more than 3,300 times the regulated safety limit.
We're talking about a colorless steam cloud coming out of the reactor containing cesium, strontium, iodine in radioactive form that then drifts downstream into people's homes, lungs, into your clothing, into your hair. And that in turn could cause lung cancer, it could cause thyroid cancer, leukemia. At Chernobyl, we're still seeing the effects of that accident, and that took place in 1986. We're still seeing people dying of that reactor accident.